Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Big Jake coming at you from 3MVTA, and I'm here to give you my 10 favorite Christmas movies. So I hope you enjoy it. Please like and subscribe. But before we get into the list, let's look at a couple honorable mentions I have. So these aren't actually Christmas movies, but I gotta be honest, I didn't know where else I would talk about them unless I did like a video about strictly comedies. But even then, I don't know for sure that they would be in the top 10 or whatever. But my honorable mentions are Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, released in 1987, starring John Candy and Steve Martin, and then Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray and Andy McDowell. Now, these movies are absolutely hysterical, and they surround holidays that don't really get a lot of movies. Like, for example, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles surrounds Thanksgiving, which I really can't think of any other like mainstream film that surrounds Thanksgiving in the way that that does. And then, of course, Groundhog Day surrounds Groundhog's Day. And once again, I can't think of any mainstream films that surround Groundhog Day either. Um, but like I said, these movies are just absolutely hysterical, especially Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I mean, I just absolutely love that film. It really is one of my favorite comedies, so it probably would be on the list if and when I do one. Um, so yeah, if you haven't seen these, check them out. Like I said, they're not Christmassy, but they're holiday films, so I figured I'd throw them in as an honorable mention. So let's go ahead and get into our list at number 10. At number 10, we have The Year Without a Santa Claus. Being released in 1974, this is one of those old school stop motion um, kids movies that I grew up watching, and in all fairness, it's a really good Christmas movie about Santa Claus um, possibly not um, or deciding to not uh, be Santa Claus for a year, and it goes on the adventure of trying to get Santa to get back in it, and um, you have the infamous Snow Miser and Heat Miser songs, and just a really good classic kids Christmas film. So if you have little kids, I definitely recommend this. I think they would really enjoy it. So, but let's go ahead and move on to number 9. Number 9 is Jingle All the Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad, and Phil Hartman. Um, this is one of those movies that it's not really a good movie, but it is pretty funny, and it has that certain Arnold Schwarzenegger cheesiness to it that makes it good. But basically, the idea being that Arnold is playing Howard, who's trying to get his son Jamie, the hottest toy of the year for Christmas, and the story is literally about basically his adventure and his mishaps trying to get it, and then Sinbad, of course, um, he's also trying to get it for his son, and and they keep clashing and batting heads, and it's just a pretty funny movie, and it's definitely I would say it's definitely worth watching for those of you that haven't seen it yet. So check it out, and let's go ahead and move on to number 8. Number 8, we have Scrooged, starring Bill Murray. Now this is basically a modern remake of A Christmas Carol, and like the ghosts are different versions of the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. Like for example, one of them is like this cab driver that smokes a cigar, and and it says once again it's a comedy based off of A Christmas Carol. So once again, hysterical, definitely worth watching. Um, if you want to watch A Christmas Carol but want it to be like a little bit different than what you're used to, it's 100% worth a look. So I suggest you take a look at it and judge for yourself. And let's go ahead and move on to number 7. Number 7, we have Krampus. Now, this is definitely one of the newer, if not the newest film on this list. The reason I put it on here is because it's not too often we actually get a decent horror movie surrounded by like Christmas. Um, but basically, it's the whole movie is about this one particular family on Christmas, and one of the sons accidentally invokes Krampus, who is the demon who is described as the anti-Santa. He basically kidnaps those without Christmas cheer. Um, the grandmother, Omi, actually at one point tells a story about how her family was taken by Krampus when she was a young kid, but she wasn't taken for some reason. So, and it's literally about them trying to survive the night, being um, trying not to be taken away by Krampus. So, definitely, I honestly believe it's definitely worth a look. You definitely got some good actors in here with Seth Green um, and David Koechner. So definitely check it out if you're looking for a slightly different Christmas horror film. And we'll go ahead and move on to number 6. Number 6, The Nightmare Before Christmas. So of course this was going to be on here. One of the most famous Christmas films of all time because one, it is not the typical Christmas film. Two, it's animated. Three, it has Tim Burton's name attached to it. And of course, everybody knows the story. It's about Jack Skellington, who's kind of sick of Halloween and wants something a little bit different. So he accidentally goes to Christmas Town and decides to steal Christmas for a year, and it all goes awry. And the big baddie, Oogie Boogie, he has to stop Oogie Boogie from basically killing Santa and ruining Christmas forever. So one cool thing about this is I did not know is that Danny Elfman plays the singing voice of Jack Skellington, which is pretty awesome. Danny Elfman's a very talented musician and writer. So yeah, I can't imagine anybody watching this hasn't seen this film yet. So let's go ahead and move on to number 5. Number 5, A Christmas Story. So once again, another film that you knew was going to be on this list. This is just a good, funny, innocent Christmas comedy about uh, Ralphie trying to get the Red Ryder BB gun that he wants more than anything, and of course his mom's afraid he's going to shoot his eye out. And the dad, who's played by Darren McGavin, also, which you might know from one of my other videos, he also plays Carl Kolchak in the TV show The Night Stalker. But and this film is just really well done, really well put together from a child's perspective, and about wanting something so bad for Christmas and trying to do what he can to get it. And it has elaborate scenes where Ralphie's imagination runs wild, and um, just funny things like that. And it's just a really good, solid film that I think everybody should see if they haven't seen. So definitely check it out if for some reason you haven't yet. So let's go ahead to number 4. Number 4, Home Alone. Definitely one of my favorites. Watched it as a kid, found it absolutely hysterical, and I still really like it. It's definitely one of me and my family. We try to watch. There's certain Christmas films that we try to watch every year around this time, and this is definitely one of them. Um, for whatever reason, if you don't know, it's basically about Macaulay Culkin as Kevin, who accidentally gets left home alone at Christmas after having a huge fight with his family. And then Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern as Harry and Marv try to rob his house, and he tries to stop them. So, and in the end, of course, it all works out. One other cool thing about this film is John Candy does a cameo basically as this polka musician who helps Catherine O'Hare's character Kate get home to Kevin. So um, once again, if you're watching this, I'm sure you've seen it, but if not, watch it with your kids. They deserve it. It's definitely a good, funny kids movie. Let's go to number 3. The Santa Claus. Now, this, I wouldn't say it's as classic as most of the other films on here, but the reason I like it so much is the idea that the whole idea being that Tim Allen plays this guy who's, for the most part, he's just a regular guy. He has got a high paying job or whatever, but for the most part, he's just a regular guy who just happens to end up becoming Santa Claus. And At first, he's resistant, but eventually he embraces it because he realizes how important Santa Claus is to the world and to the children of the world. And the whole film is about him trying to deal with it, but also deal with his son and his ex-wife and people who don't believe what's going on, and his son who they honestly in the film they view his son as basically being crazy, that he believes that his dad really is the Santa Claus. So um, just another good solid family film that's worth watching around this time of year. So we're gonna go ahead to number two. And number two, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now this one's not as kid friendly, but it definitely deserves to be on here. It is definitely one of the best Christmas movies ever made, and aside from being hysterical, the whole idea behind this film about Clark and all the trials and tribulations he goes to try to give his family the perfect Christmas one year. Um, and everything goes wrong from the lights going wrong, that something happens with the tree, and he doesn't get his Christmas bonus this year, and his cousin Eddie, who he doesn't really like because his cousin Eddie's basically just a giant redneck, crashes the party, and it's just I don't know what else to say about it. It's just a great film, and it's 100% worth your time and effort to watch if you have it for whatever reason. I'm sure most people watching this, if not everybody watching this, has seen this film, but if you know somebody who hasn't, try to get them to watch it. These are the kind of films that shouldn't be forgotten with time, and this is definitely one of those films that I believe that will stand the test of time. So, and finally, we're at the top here with number one, and I don't think you'll be too shocked, but we'll see what you think. It is A Christmas Carol, so I'm sure not everybody's shocked with this, but I picked the version with Patrick Stewart. This is definitely my favorite version of the story. Um, whereas, it basically boils down to Patrick Stewart as an actor. He is just absolutely amazing. He's without a doubt one of my favorite actors of all time. And the fact that he can do so much and he has so much range in his acting ability. Which is really funny because he plays so many serious roles. Scrooge. He did a lot of Shakespeare. Um, his character on Star Trek, Jean-Luc Picard, was a very serious character, but in his real life, he's actually very goofy and funny, and which he can do comedy very well. But it's just so funny to see things like, for example, I saw an interview with him once where he showed his Halloween costume, and it was him dressed up as a lobster in a bathtub, just to show you what kind of humor that he has in his personal life. You know what I mean? And then to see him go and play such a serious role like Scrooge, and to just do it so well and so masterfully, it's just like I said. In my opinion, this is the best version of A Christmas Carol as far as films are concerned, for sure. And if you haven't seen this version, I highly recommend it. I think everybody should watch this version. I think you'll agree that Patrick Stewart as Scrooge really makes a huge difference in how good the film really is. So, but there you have it, my top 10 Christmas films of all time. And I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you did. Um, I know this year hasn't been the best year for everybody, so let's hope that the next year brings us some better things. Um, and I, myself, for my next episode, I'm going to do my top 10 favorite King of the Hill episodes. So I hope you all look forward to that. And even though it's a little bit late, which I do apologize, I meant to get this out before Christmas, but just couldn't with all the holidays and stuff going on. So, but I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, and I do hope everybody has happy holidays, and I hope everybody has a happy New Year this year. So I'll see you guys. Same nerd time, same nerd channel. Have a good evening.